Hello and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Chat About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you to everyone who has joined me already. I couldn't do this without you. Now, what I'm talking about today on this Woke Wednesday is a show that I love very much, which is Strictly Come Dancing. For my USA subscribers, that's the BBC equivalent to Dancing with the Stars. I've been following what's been dubbed the Strictly scandals in the news from almost from the beginning, and more news keeps dropping. Now, at this present moment in time, everything that we hear in this video to do with Strictly Come Dancing are just allegations. I'm not going to call the celebrities liars, and I'm not going to say that the professional dancers are instigators either. And I'm not going to speculate or offer any major opinion that may sway people's minds in this video. Please be as fair as you can in the comments and try not to speculate too much. I'm making this video because I actually feel like I can address some of the things that actually go on within my industry. So as you know, I work in the entertainment industry. So I may be able to offer up some insights on good and bad industry rhetorics. But before I talk about that, let's start at the beginning of the Strictly scandals. I'm going to address the names mentioned in this, lay out some points, and remind everyone that they have the right to have a fair investigation. Now, there's one thing that needs to be noted about the Strictly Come Dancing rehearsals is that all training sessions are actually recorded, so the BBC should be able to get to the bottom of all of this within reasonable time. Now, in October 2023, Amanda Abbington, star of Sherlock, left Strictly Come Dancing after missing a week due to sickness for personal reasons. It was reported by The Sun that she had requested rehearsal footage after revealing that she had been diagnosed with PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. Rumours were also flying everywhere from as early as September 2003. Let's read what this says. All of my articles that I have used are linked below. Amanda Abbington has requested from the BBC of backstage footage of herself and Giovanni Pernice on Strictly. It has been reported, The Sun was reporting this, by the way. The actress, 51, suddenly quit the show in October, citing personal reasons for her exit, and has since revealed that she has been diagnosed with PTSD. Following backstage clashes with pro partner Giovanni, she is said to be keen to review recordings after taking legal actions. According to The Sun, the BBC have received a request for the footage as data subject request. A source told the publication there is a feeling that the recordings will lift the lid on what really goes on behind the scenes on Strictly. Things in rehearsals can become very tense. They added that Giovanni could be incredibly full on as he is a perfectionist. Prior to the live shows even beginning in September, sources claimed that Amanda had threatened to quit over Giovanni's militant and aggressive behavior in training. A source told The Sun at the time Giovanni is a hard taskmaster and takes the competition very, very seriously. Sometimes his manner is incredibly brusque, and this can upset his partners. Amanda was really looking forward to dancing with him, but has found his aggressive training style and attitude pretty difficult to handle. However, Amanda appeared to hit back at the claims at the time by sharing a photo of herself beaming in rehearsals. The smile you give your pro partner at the end of the camera rehearsal when you know you are in safe hands and hugely talented hands. I used to have a dance teacher who, in my opinion, was a pretty militant and horrible teacher, but was great at teaching choreography for shows and for shows only. It became apparent that he really wasn't meant for teaching a range of abilities because he would bellow at the more inexperienced dancers rather than help them achieve what he wanted them to achieve in a lesson. It was almost like he couldn't comprehend how they couldn't get it straight away. He fails to remember what it was like for him when he first started dancing, in my opinion, with this particular teacher. Then again, he may have also been dancing since he was a child, so it was easier for him to have picked up the skills and strength that he would have needed as a dancer. So he may have also forgot that, which is why perhaps that happened. Now, I wasn't an inexperienced dancer, but I wasn't amazing, I would say, in my opinion. I had a knack for flexibility, which meant that I could do things like the splits. However, That also meant that when we did corner drills, he wanted split leaps from me the moment he found out I could do the splits. Right from the get go, he was yelling at me, split leap, split leap, split leap, and became irate when he found out that I couldn't do it the first time that he asked me to do it. It was just impossible because I had no idea how to do it. Week after week, he would yell at me, split leap, and get with it. Do it now with no advice or physical adjustment of what I was actually doing to help me achieve it. And then the one time that I did manage it, he wasn't watching. So it's blooming law, right? And when my friend said that I had done it, the teacher said, I didn't see it, so she will just have to do it again so I can believe it. Now, this experience was quite early on within my career and it taught me a lot of tough love. And that actually gave me a lot of thick skin. Now, does that make that sort of rhetoric appropriate? Absolutely not. That shouldn't have actually happened, but it did. And I took that on board and I had to toughen up because I had no choice. I'm not saying that the statement on the screen that I read to you is true or false. That has to be decided by the investigation fairly. Both participants in the investigation need fair treatment. Now, I will say this though. Rehearsal periods are tough, and non professional dancers who come in to do Strictly Come Dancing must actually find it pretty grueling, particularly if they are not entertainers naturally, to team up with a competitive professional dancer who may not actually see this as a fun competition, but a real serious one. And add to the fact that they also have a major time crunch to prepare each dance each week. I believe that the tensions, of course, will naturally run a bit higher than perhaps the average rehearsal room, and that can lead to anything happening. It still doesn't mean to say that this is true or false. Now, I'm going to link the article from The Independent below in the description that it has a very detailed timeline actually. So I'm going to fast forward to Giovanni Pernice, who was Amanda's partner in 2023 for the show, and he's denied these allegations. Now, again, please do remember they are just allegations and he has a right to a fair hearing. This is what he had to say. Pernice denies all claims of abusive or threatening behavior and tells his Instagram followers he is looking forward to proving his innocence. You will be as surprised as I am that allegations have been made about my dance teaching methods in the media this week, he writes, rejecting the insinuation that his behavior had ever become abusive. He adds, I have always striven to help them to be the very best dancers they can be, he said of his celebrity dance partners. This has always come from a place of love and wanting to win for me and my dance partner. Pernice concluded thanking his fans for their continued love and support. On the 29th of May, the BBC released this statement on the screen. The BBC responds to recent reports about Pernice's alleged conduct. Its statement reads, it is a long-standing position that the BBC does not comment on specific matters related to individuals. Not ordinarily, we would comment on whether we are reviewing any individual complaints. Recently, we have seen a number of media reports about a high-profile show. We would urge people not to indulge in speculation. Anyone involved in a complaint has the right to confidentiality and fair process. If a complaint is made to the BBC, we assess and take any necessary steps to establish the facts, whether there is a case to answer, and if appropriate, what action should be taken. This is all within the context of the BBC having duties of care to everyone linked to a complaint that applies to those that have raised the complaint and to those that are being complained about. Whilst we know our shows have been positive experiences for many of those who have taken part, we will always look to any issues raised with care, fairness, and sensitivity to everyone concerned. Now, of course, this has all been made public, so people will naturally be inclined to make their speculations. However, in many respects, the BBC are right. We shouldn't really speculate too much until their investigations have, you know, confirmed their findings, essentially. It needs to be looked at with fairness, and I'm not actually going to specifically speculate on any specific situation. It is something that I think people in my industry, though myself included, could actually take note of, because no matter the outcome of this, and we probably won't really ever find out the outcome, it is something that can highlight changes that need to be made within the practices of our industry. I believe that this is something that production companies and the union, and even Spotlight CV to a degree, can all work on together in order to make whistleblowing much more comfortable for performers. The next star under the line of fire was Graziano di Prima. He has actually now been axed from the show. It has been confirmed. Zara McDermott also released a statement via Instagram stories. I felt it was right that I post something regarding the recent media reports. Strictly is one of the most magical shows on TV, and one that I dreamt of being on since I was a little girl. When I was invited to be a contestant on the show, it was a childhood dream come true. I fully understood the level of commitment and hard work that Strictly was going to be, and I dedicated everything to it. I am a resilient person, and I was fully prepared to put in whatever it took. And so much of my Strictly experience was everything I could have dreamt of. The entire production team and everyone behind the scenes, as well as my fellow contestants, was so amazing to work with. However, my experience inside the training room was very different. Reports have been made about my treatment on the show, and there were witnesses to some of the events, as well as videos of particular incidents, which are incredibly distressing to watch. I have wrestled with the fear of opening up. I was scared about public backlash. I was scared about my future. I was scared of victim shaming. But after a lot of conversations with those that I love, I've gained the strength to face the fears. And when I was asked to speak to the BBC, I spoke candidly about my time on the show. And according to The Independent, Graziano admitted to kicking Zara. However, it still does have to actually be investigated by the BBC. Strictly Come Dancing, Graziano Di Prima admits he kicked Zara McDermott in rehearsal. Strictly Come Dancing, Graziano Di Prima admits he kicked Zara McDermott in rehearsal. There is never a time when kicking or any sense of that is right, Di Prima's spokesman told the BBC News on Thursday, July 18th, and he knows that. He knows he's made a mistake. He apologized at the time. A video of the incident is believed to have been brought to the attention of the BBC last week, leading to Di Prima's axing from the show. The footage has not been made public, and the circumstances surrounding it are unknown. Now, lots of these things are being released on these Strictly scandals, the most recent being the Paralympian Will Bailey. He addressed how he got injured on the show. And here is what he said, and I have also included his partner's response, who was Jeanette Manrara, at the time. Speaking to The Sun, Bailey commented, "We practiced a few times and I was really careful, but then Jeanette said my jump was rubbish and I needed to smile more and go for it and show a bit of passion." He went on to explain then he went for it, but subsequently experienced the most horrific pain. "I was lying on the floor thinking my whole career was over. I heard my leg crack. I couldn't breathe," he recalled. "I wake up in the morning and it hurts. I can only train now for a couple of hours before it's sore." He noted he didn't have an issue with Jeanette, but felt she had been under pressure from the show's bosses. They have remained friends since they took part in the series. Jeanette's response was, "Manrara starred as a professional dancer for 8 series before going on to host the Strictly spin-off It Takes Two in 2021. A representative for her has now responded to Bailey's claims, telling the Mail Online Jeanette had a great time with Will dancing, and one of her favourite moments on the show was doing the contemporary couple's choice. Her celebrity partner's safety and enjoyment was always priority throughout her time on Strictly. Jeanette has never received any complaints and maintained friendships with all her partners, including Will." So the BBC have released statements with apologies, and they will review the support and welfare measures they have stated. There is one statement that they've also released, and it was on July 16th, 2023, that I actually find quite intriguing as a performer myself from the performance aspect. On July 16th, the BBC said it would introduce measures to strengthen welfare and support on the show, including a chaperone who will be present at all times during the training room rehearsals. Now, the thing I find about rehearsals is that they can be exhausting and extremely tough. Now, it strikes me that this should have actually been something that they had done from the beginning anyway, because a cameraman may not always actually see what's going on clearly through a lens because he's focusing on recording. Now, I can only think of one thing in my entire entertainment career, other than my 6 years of training, that I was ever left with other performers to rehearse alone during the rehearsal period in the build up to a show. And this was an immersive theatre event, which was actually dotted all over the place. So the director had to go off to different areas, but we were only ever left alone for 20 minutes approximately per hour before somebody came in and worked with us on the project. I've always had directors and producers in the room when we're actually rehearsing in the lead up to a show, which is actually a really good thing because they can actually keep the room under control, stop arguments from falling out, and all sorts of things. If they are actually, a really good top notch and very approachable type of team, they can certainly do that. But another situation that I've actually just thought of where it may just be the performers by themselves in a rehearsal situation is when they are actually going over something, perhaps with an assigned dance captain or somebody who is there to supervise the singing, or perhaps an understudy rehearsal or something like that. Those types of situations, though, generally occur after the first performance when perhaps the director is just no longer part of the show or something like that, or the choreographer has to go off elsewhere, so this is why you assign a dance captain. But there is still someone who is there to actually supervise and control everything, because the dance captain, just to use that as an example, when the choreographer is not there, the dance captain is in charge of the dancers. Now, I'm going to set Strictly Come Dancing aside. Well, almost. First, actually, I just quickly want to mention what Zara said about being afraid of the outcomes if you report something, that kind of thing. She was along that sort of lines. Now, now I'm going to set Strictly Come Dancing aside. That statement actually holds very true to all performers, and she is actually more of a reality star. So if she is feeling it, then that would suggest that she is actually aware of bad rhetorics within the performance industry. We all work in an industry that is actually completely elitist, arrogant, and extremely egotistical. There are some out there that lots of us wouldn't actually dare to question or cross or undermine in any way, because you're either in or you're out, and that's out of fear of perhaps losing your job or being blacklisted from somewhere. Now, performers aren't really privy to having appraisals either, so we always feel like there's a line to draw of with how much we say and do, which is, when you look at it in the bigger picture, that's hardly fair, because we are in a position where we are actually allowed to work fairly, and we should be able to go and blow the whistle if we feel that we need to. The closest thing that we ever really get to an appraisal is perhaps regular meetings with our agents. However, if you don't have an agent and you don't have access to that type of service from this agent, whatever, so you're left to question, what is it exactly that you do? And it's a rhetoric that I feel that we as performers should actually start to challenge and speak out against a lot more. We should have the support of our union behind us when we do so as well. I have won actually two battles with the support of the union. I'm pretty sure one of those battles has actually resulted in me being blacklisted, but I stood my ground. Now, in this instance, I hope that both sides of the scandal are actually treated with extreme fairness. However, I would actually also like to ask production companies a more generic question as to why something like this has actually blown up. What is it about the industry ethics that make performers who are living from paycheck to paycheck afraid to blow the whistle and report something so that it can be investigated efficiently and quickly when they don't feel something is right? Why is it that the performer should always feel the need to stay silent? That's it for today. Please remember to keep the comments as fair as you can. Please refrain from going to any of those celebrities involved by sending them messages of hate or anything like that. Please do refrain from that. They have the right to fair investigation by the BBC. These, of course, are just allegations. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.